Okay, folks, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into Google Sheets, and I wanted to show you the interface, which is basically where all the tools are in Google Sheets. So we're going to go ahead and make a new file. Now, before I do that, one of the things we talked about was making sure that you have a folder all set up to gather all your projects together and share them with me. So before we move on, I'm going to demonstrate that one more time for a reason. So if I go to new folder, I can go ahead and type in Sheets Assignments and create that folder. And right down here, you can see my Sheets Assignments folder. I'm going to double click on that to go into it. And I have nothing in there right now. But the nice thing is that if you want to create a file inside that folder and not have to move it around at all, you can just click New Sheet, and the sheet that it creates will be made inside that folder. So that's pretty handy. So the pieces that we need to know about for Excel. Well, first of all, right up here, we have the title bar. This is, and we're going to do an example document here. And our document, example sheet makes more sense. And hit enter, and now the title of this sheet is example sheet. Below that, we've got the menu toolbar. It's got all the menus, and if you really need to find something that's one of the controls or one of the settings, then you're probably going to have an option of finding it in here. The shortcuts toolbar right here, you're going to find most of the common things, but you won't find everything. So that's important to know about. Below that, we have what's called the formula bar. So when you're creating formulas, and we'll do that later, when you're creating formulas for Excel, and we are clicked into one of these cells down here, then whatever we type is also going to show up here in the formula bar. So it can be edited in two different places, but what you see in the cell might be different than what you see in the formula bar, because this is going to show you what it's figuring out, as opposed to what it's actually already figured out, which is what you'd see in a cell. And we'll talk a little more about that later. Below that, we have our column headings. I occasionally run into folks who are not 100% clear on columns versus rows. So these letters are columns. And if I select a column, you can see that that goes top to bottom. That is a column. Across over here, the letters are columns and the numbers are rows. And the beauty of that is that any cell anywhere in this spreadsheet could be all the way down 100 miles down the side. It has its very own address. Every cell has its very own name. And so when I look here, I can see that if I click on a cell like this one right here, I can first of all see right up here that it's cell number B7. The label for that cell, how to identify that cell, is B7. It's in column B, and it's on row 7. And that's how you go about figuring out what cell you're talking about when you are selecting cells or working with cells or talking about a cell, which we'll do a little bit later. So that is just the very basics of where you find things in Excel. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to show you, and that is right down here where we have sheets. Now, right now, this spreadsheet is made up of only one page. It's kind of like a tablet, but this is only one page of that tablet, and it doesn't have any other pages. But you can create other pages on your tablet so that you can have other things going on, and those are called sheets, which is a little confusing because Google Sheets is called Sheets. In Excel, they're called Sheets, and it makes a little bit more sense because Excel you can talk about differently. But suffice it to say, even though it's confusing, we do call these sheets, and they're kind of like other pages in a tablet. You can also select a range. So if I select more than one cell at a time, then I'm selecting a range of cells. So you can see up here how it talks about that. That is cell number B5 all the way through B12. That's a range of cells. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I want to make sure that we can do this in just small chunks so you can definitely get a feel of what's going on. So we're going to stop there, and I'm going to move on to some other stuff in a few minutes. So hopefully you got a handle on this. Take a look through, make a new spreadsheet, get your folder set up, and we'll be ready to move on.